and we are two.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Alante, and I'm back with another video. I am reading The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man by Shahrazad Ali. And this is chapter 4, Communications. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. The oral communications from the Black man are a topic of concerned study, mostly involving attempts to decipher exactly what he is trying to say and what is his point in saying it. Complicating this issue are charges from his woman that he is not open enough about his feelings, thoughts, and ideas. Many of them, even those who are married, rarely venture out verbally to express themselves, and some hardly talk at all. And if they do talk, they confine their comments to detached external issues unrelated to his personal feelings or conclusions. When they do attempt to make a communicative contribution or explain how they interpret a particular subject, they are met with criticism or rejection. This is based on some of their illusionary never will happen solutions and their proclivity to hesitate or take the long way around to arrive at a goal. It is very difficult to convince them that one of their idealistic postures is erroneous. They will hold fast to a losing position in a debate and refuse to concede if it means admitting they are wrong. I thought she was going to take it easy on you guys in the communications, but it seems like she is on both women and men's necks in these books. Okay, she got one foot. She has one foot on the woman's neck in the last book, and then she's got her other foot on y'all neck in this book. It astounds them how fast women think or take action, and they are baffled when they try to explain something that is so crystal clear to them but appears to confuse their listeners. It is obvious that Black men speak and interpret their language and deduce the crux of an issue in an entirely different way than their women and nearly everyone else. Sheesh. Let's get into this chapter. I'm way too thrilled about her just keeping it 100. Like, she had me laughing in our book, but she's like, yes, tell them. Because what do they be saying? All right, let me relax before she be like, and this is all because of the woman. Okay. This difference of approach and system of delayed consideration often prevents the Black man from getting his ideas across to others. However, this does not necessarily mean that they are wrong, just that because of how he says it, nobody's interested in listening. Methods of communication and use of the language has evolved in one way for Black women and another way for Black men. For example, it is possible that many of the misunderstandings between couples occur because they are speaking two different dialects. Each gender has pre-established certain definitions based on their personal feelings and priorities. They are rarely adjustable between intimate parties. Feminine and masculine perceptions determine what a word means. As long as each sex insists on devising their own definitions of the language, Black men and Black women will continue to misinterpret each other and become combative when trying to hold a sane conversation. Many regular words have private meanings to him, and he is insulted easily. When called upon, they have a ready list of examples about how unfairly they are dealt with in every category of their lives. They demand the right to say anything about any topic they choose and expound determinedly on numerous subjects in which they believe their opinions are right. They think everybody else is wrong as hell. The experts say that when a person talks, only 7% of what they say is verbal, 23% is conveyed by body language, 35% by facial expression, and 35% tone of voice. If this is true, then all kinds of messages are being sent between Black men and Black women, mixed messages and fleeting thoughts. Ain't that the truth? When the Black man does communicate, what does he say? Well, his women respond that one of the ways he is noted for communicating is by lying. They say he is routinely subject to lie about the following things. Okay. This isn't funny because y'all need to stop lying. But it's 30 things. All right. They say he is routinely subject to lie about the following things. 1, how much money he makes. 2, how well he can play or played a sport, basketball, football, etc. 3, what his position or job is. 4, how much they paid for something. 5, how many women they got. 6, their marital status. 7, about how many children they have. 8, about how they get along with their wife or woman. 9, how much power they wield in their house. 10, how fast their car can go. 11, their physical abilities. 12, about what they did in the war. 13, how they functioned in a physical fight. 14, how many times they can climax in one night. 15, how many women they quit. 16, things women have done to or for them. 17, how much money they have. 18, how they got somebody told. 19, what a woman did to them in bed. 20, where they're going when they leave the house. 21, where they just came from. 22, their skills. 23, why they broke up with their wife or lady friend. 24, about their childhood. 25, about how much their clothes cost. 26, about who he's related to. 27, what he spent his money on. 28, how much he had to drink. 29, about completing a task or chore. 30, about being broke. Now, I love Black men, but I can't front. I have been lied to about half of this list. And it's like, why? 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 Why lie? Why lie? I don't get it. Anyway, and as suspected, the list goes on and on. His lies are connected some way to his trying to earn respect, keep the peace, gain recognition or admiration. He says he gets in more trouble with the truth than he does with a lie, so he has adjusted his life to include a repugnance for absolute truth. His infamy as a habitual liar with his women has garnered him a reputation of having a diabolic intent to do fraud. Diabolical intent. His women say that lying is apparently a singular Black male phenomena. He mainly lies to get out of trouble and to avoid punishment or disapproval. They shudder at the thought of their women catching them in a lie. They feel completely defenseless when they get busted. Their reason for telling so many lies is to avoid the consequences of being honest. Then his guilt causes him to worry. Worry gives him anxiety, and anxiety leads to weariness. Thus, he is tired. Lying is a negative defensive habit that creates distrust and suspicion in his relationships. Sometimes he is able to joke himself out of getting caught in a lie, or he manages to explain it off convincingly, or resort to more serious tactics depending on the seriousness of the issue, and he will cry. real tears. Whenever he is caught in a lie, he knows he has two emotions going for him. One, the unwavering desire his woman has to believe him and trust him. And two, a man crying brings out the maternal instincts of a female and she is more apt to forgive him. The crying tactic is not really that unconscionable if one considers that to the black man with rascal tendencies to lie, tears fall within the sphere of being a handy, distracting survival tool. Yo, for real. I knew a man once that would cry on a dime. Nobody I dated, just somebody that was in my family would cry just so easily, just cry. And that really opened my eyes to men that will manipulate you emotionally by just crying. Now I think about it, I did have an ex that did that. Yeah, just cry and just like he was an awful partner, dating partner, but he was the one crying. Like what? Oh, you gotta be weary of men that know how to just cry on a dime. The ones that be trying to hold it back and don't let you see them cry, it's like, oh, okay, maybe he don't like crying. But also, that might be manipulation too. Who knows? Many times, his woman listens to his weak explanations until he finally stumbles on one she can halfway settle with. Whether his use of lies is an innate defense mechanism or a wicked character flaw cannot easily be determined because most of the time his woman knows when he is lying anyway. Ain't that the truth? Until he works out his lying problem, his communication voids will persist. Lying has seriously damaged the credibility of the black man. So, how does he react to the truth? He claims that his woman can't handle the truth very well, but the black man does not assimilate with it any better than she does. There are many truths that he will not acknowledge about himself, truths which are verifiable according to his original nature, but have become distorted and perverted. Some of the daily issues he refuses to recognize as true are: 1. He will not admit that black women should dress more modestly because the position requires him to change his immoral ideas and adulterous reactions to her nudity. Call him out, sis. I agree 100%. I was talking about this before I took my hiatus off of social media about how men will complain about women out here being hoes and 304s, but they'll be out here following, liking all the celebrity ones. Doesn't make any sense. You want a woman of good character, or you want a 304. You can't claim both. Oh, but it's because you lack discipline and you want to be living on that immoral side. You want your cake and eat it too. You want a moral woman at home, but you want to indulge in immorality. You can't serve two masters. 2, he won't admit that he has sacrificed the black child's life by not fulfilling his responsibilities as father. 3, he can't agree with a self-help platform because it necessitates his becoming qualified to be independent using his own steam. 4, he can't admit that the civil rights movement failed because it's easier to have blind faith in a system than to abandon it. 5, he can't acknowledge that black boys need to be in a separate school to address their special needs because he will have to take a more active role in their educational process. 6, he won't admit that he could exert more control over the drug influx in his neighborhood because it would demand he take action to remove the problem. 7, he can't agree that his woman rules him or that he is afraid of her because he prefers using her misbehavior as an excuse to do the negative things he does himself. 8, He won't say that he dislikes seeing black women with white men because it is an unpopular stand and could get him expelled from certain circles. 9. He doesn't admit that he really does want to be in charge of his wife and family because he is afraid of failure and the blame it entails. 10. He can't admit that the real reason he's angry with the Asians who buy and operate businesses in his own neighborhood is simply because he doesn't know how to operate a business himself. 11. He won't admit that he spends too much money outside the African American community because he is so enthralled with the material goodies produced by the Europeans and the Japanese. 12. He can't accept the fact that white folks are never going to give him reparations or apologize to him for how badly he has been treated after slavery because he feels like a chump. I feel like with the whole reparations thing, if they didn't give it to our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, like, why would they give it to us now? I feel like it's just give it up, like, give it a rest. But some people are still like, no, we need reparations for my family that never got it. Okay, anyway. 13. He won't acknowledge that he is never really comfortable around whites as he is with his own kind, because then he has to admit that the two races are actually different. 14. He can't admit that while he publicly claims to admire Nelson Mandela or Malcolm X, that he's too scared to make moral judgments and stand up for what he believes in like they did. Me and my brother were having this conversation, like, there are no Malcolm X's, Nelson Mandela's, Martin Luther King's anymore. Like, I haven't seen not one black man willing to die for the cause. And my brother was like, because they died. Like, the ones that were willing to die, they did die. And it's like, nobody's willing to die no more. It's like, and that is very apparent. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's a thing. 15. He certainly can't admit that he would like to have 2 women because he has been convinced that it is wrong and unjustifiable. 16. He can't admit that it's wrong for black men to be homosexual because he doesn't want to offend anyone or force his values on others. Plus, he's not sure on what basis he thinks it's wrong. 17. He can't announce his feelings of helplessness because he thinks that he must always impress others of his massive strength even when there's no proof that it even exists. 18. He can't admit that he doesn't know how to express his black culture other than wearing African clothes or symbols. 19. He can't admit that he has wasted a lot of time believing in and chasing rainbow-colored dreams that never materialize. 20. And finally, he can't admit that he no longer has confidence in the American political system as a solutional base for his problems because it would require him to develop independent strategies to reach his own goals. If he decided that any of the above statements were true, he would immediately start to function differently and go to work to implement some potential for real change for his grandchildren. Another way he gets out of being confronted with his lies is to drop out of sight for a while. Just disappear completely until he thinks its importance has blown over. He is good at ducking the truth because it condemns him and exposes his masquerade of being honest. He lives in a perpetual state of fear of being attacked. Exactly what is he afraid of? He is afraid someone might kill him, take something from him, steal his car, take his woman, blow his credit. He's scared of being found out, of losing respect, of moving too fast, of forgetting something, of dropping dead from the pressure of having people depend on him, or of getting caught. He is afraid that he will be arrested of something. He is afraid of losing his job. and he is afraid that things are getting progressively worse. His fears cause him to hesitate. He complains too much instead of acting. What does the black man do with his frustration and pent-up rage or anger? Sociologists say that familial deprivation and the lack of cultural contact leads an individual to instinctive hostility and aggression as a byproduct of these vacancies in their development. Much of the black man's anger is dammed up inside of him. He is outraged. His ego has been violated. Many of his hostile reactions to social conflict result from past small failures in varied situations. He often turns his anger on to those closest to him. While they claim the threats of their survival are external to their own communities, in many cases, this is where they express their disappointment and rage. When mammals of the same species become alarmed when danger is near, they press together for safety. But because black men have eliminated all ties that bound them together, they turn on each other. Animals show their beastly unselfishness when it comes to the good or preservation of the community. Black males spend a lot of time plotting and planning how to kill or hurt one another. So when the claims are made that black men act like animals, they do not, because animals show more love and respect for each other than black men do. Man, that's heavy. Animals have unity. They all live in the same way, eat the same foods, maintain the same breeding techniques, and care for and train their young. The black man communicates his aggression sometimes randomly on innocent victims as a sort of a death wish. He does not know how to resolve conflicts and maintain his manhood. Anger and conflict are said to be two different things. Conflict is the problem, and anger is the reaction to it. So he implodes for as long as he can, and then he explodes out of desperation. His lack of knowledge puts him at a constant disadvantage. There have always been and will continue to be black men who claim that they are so fed up with the injustices done against blacks that they resort to violence and say they want to wage physical war with America. These black men are the biggest fools of them all. Gun studies say that there are more than 200 million firearms in the USA. This is in the 90s, okay? Guess how many there's now? I don't even know. The bulk of these are owned, assembled, and distributed by white males. Let's consider the basic requirements for any nation to wage war on another government. Certain institutions have to be in place, especially to pass the first lick. The minimal needs are 1. A military budget, 2. Vehicular mobility, 3. Material suppliers, 4. High-tech weapons, 5. Trained soldiers, 6. Food and medical care, 7. Communication systems, 8. Supportive allies. The following is the black man's status regarding the above. Number 1, budget. Most black men have a difficult time pulling together their rent budget. They do not own a bank and are not known to pool their dollars for major purchases because they do not trust each other with the money. Wars cost money, and black men will never be able to beg enough donations to finance such an extreme, destined to fail, naive idea. 2. Mobility. Cadillacs, Benzes, BMWs, or vans are of no value in a war zone, nor can they take the place of a tank. Blacks own no airline, have no helicopters, and few trained pilots would jeopardize their position at major airlines to fly fighter planes for the black man's war against America. Guerrilla warfare on the concrete will be difficult. 3. Supplies. Only a few black men qualify as manufacturers in their businesses. They do not have a central warehouse to order ammo, equipment, clothing, helmets, shields, or any of the incidental items needed in a war. Neither do they have offshore contacts that have stock drop shipped in. Number 4, weapons. Black men do not have, nor will ever be allowed to have, enough firearms or contracts to stockpile the kinds of weaponry and explosive necessary to pull off a military coup against the American government. A few 22s and 38s, shotguns, and several automatic weapons are not sufficient to attack the most powerful warring nation on the globe. I be trying to tell people that, with all these politics and stuff going on, America is a lot of things, but we are still the number one fighting war machine in the world. And that's not something to just bat an eye at, okay? If you want to go to war with a team, you're going to want to be on our team. That's all I'm saying. Number 5, soldiers. Black men have never had but 2 organizations that train them for military competence, and they are no longer in existence. And when they were, the majority of black men disagreed with their theories about preparing themselves for self-defense. They have no sane, trained generals or necessary personnel, plus they will never be able to convince black men in any sizable numbers to voluntarily commit suicide for a cause. Number 6, food and medicine. Black men do not have a hospital controlled by them to take in their injured or wounded. They do not have access to volume prescription medications either. Blacks get all their foodstuffs from European producers who are stocked by European farmers. The black man buys all his food at a supermarket or a fast food chain. A people who cannot even feed themselves independently have no business even considering going to war with the nation providing them with food, clothing, and shelter. The USA could win the war simply by starving them to death and blocking the doors of KFC. Not KFC. Number 7, communications. Black men use home telephones, car phones, and phone booths to contact each other, and most are operated and owned by AT&T. Most black men do not even have a walkie-talkie. If they started the war in California, they would have no way of knowing what was happening in NYC. The only people they could communicate with would be those who they could physically reach out and touch. Number 8, allies. Black men are not militarily affiliated with any foreign governments. As much as they say they love and support the motherland or launch verbal campaigns against apartheid in South Africa, nobody from Africa is going to ever use a hostile invasion of America to rescue or help the black man. No African nation has ever expressed public outrage at how the black man is treated in America. Black men do not qualify for recognition as a nation because they are dependent upon the USA for all their needs and are not nationally organized, nor have they African names or religions to identify them as a lost tribe worthy of defending. So there it is in black and white. Black men are not qualified or prepared to go to war, and any attempts as such will end in bloodshed and humiliation. The black men who espouse this kind of pointless rhetoric have no consideration for black women and black children or the elders. The black man is not divinely defenseless, but he would be delusional, psychotically so, to think that he could win anything but a casket or a lengthy jail sentence by employing this method to seek freedom. Additionally, black men tend to decide to believe in or align themselves with the political dogma of strong black men who are now dead. They claim a few ideas or a statement from them and try to build an entire allegiance based on a few parables or slogans. It seems the most enduring slogan, catapulted into popularity by Malcolm X during the 60s, which resurfaces periodically as it has now, is by any means necessary. Black men say that by any means necessary means that they should fight for their freedom and get it no matter what it takes. Let's consider some of the means that might become necessary. One, it could mean that the black man must quit their jobs working in the system, abandon all their credit cards, and default on their car notes in order to give full attention to important issues in the struggle, like pooling their resources and energies to form independent businesses, schools, and food distribution systems. Two, it could entail black men to stop going to church and to study their own cultural religions, give up their slave master's name, and work daily to figure out how to get along with each other. Three, it might mean going without the latest style of clothing, selling all their jewelry to get cash to finance their projects, or eating only one meal a day to conserve food and expenses. Four, it could mean that black men have to start taking black women off the streets who are living immorally, or claiming some of the black babies and youth who have been left in agencies to keep them from being absorbed in cross-racial adoptions. Five, it could mean going into a room with his neighbors or club members and not coming out until they came to an agreement about what must be done to salvage black communities and formulate an agenda and assign themselves duties to get it done. Six, it could also mean that they have to start making their word their bond and doing what they say they are going to do, and clean up their own neighborhoods and make repairs where needed. This would include policing their own areas and making them a safe and clean place to live. What if the above 6 examples are the means necessary to restore values and self-sufficiency in African American communities? How many black men are willing to use any means necessary to rebuild black culture and black pride by sacrificing their individual greed and personal aspirations for the benefit of the black nation at large? How many black men are confident enough in themselves to step out on air and decide that the black God is with them and use their lives to be an example to young black males of what taking responsibility looks like? How many black males are serious and concerned to the point of standing up for what they think is right and try to build something that they don't ask the white man to finance? These are the questions. That is the call. A yay or nay response is expected to be forthcoming. So the next time the black man is found or heard elaborating on what blacks should do to get out of their predicament or reestablish values in the black family to save children, ask him to read this chapter, take positive action, or suggest he hush and stop fooling himself. They are the only men on earth who insist on trying to talk themselves into a better condition instead of working for one. The black man annoys a lot of people who identify him by his so-called skyrocketing ego. It seems that just about anything he brags about he can do that is different from how things are usually done is referred to as ego tripping. He is charged with having an undeserving value for himself and is too self-centered, thinks he's great, does a lot of unsubstantiated tall talk, and when in this trance, talks like he has the whole wide world in his hands. The dimensions of his ego libido fluctuates from big to bigger to biggest. His ego is just as spry and sturdy as any other male mammal and stands for his last clutch for life. It is the European male who has always set the clearest example of having the greatest amount of king-size ego. What size of an ego did it take for European explorers to travel around the world and decide that wherever they stopped, they had a right to claim the land, rename it, and put the people already residing there under their authority? And what is the depth and breadth of an ego that convinced them that they are solely in charge of distributing information according to their own writings to the rest of the world by claiming that they are the sacred leaders of all civilized standards? And what kind of an overblown ego tells them that while they do rank as the least number of people on earth, that they have the right to claim the supreme being / God as a member of their sparse race? If anyone has over-exaggerated their worth power or desires, it is the white man, not the black man. And then these same self proclaimed world leaders had the nerve during the conflict between Iraq and Kuwait to rush to Kuwait's side, expressing shock and outrage at Saddam Hussein's savage disrespect for human life in order to gain control of another territory. Saddam was charged with invading Kuwait, plundering their villages, enslaving the men, raping the women, and taking control of their natural resources and staking claim to the entire area. Saddam was further lambasted for accomplishing all this by brute force, trickery, and sophisticated weaponry. Ironically, Saddam's methods exactly parallel with the war tactics used by white men when he claimed to have found America and set upon the Indians with a vengeance. It was the same cowardly, self-serving egomania that was used by the Dutch, the British, and the French in Africa, Australia, and multiple surrounding islands. There is absolutely no difference at all. What did y'all think about that chapter? My goodness. Communications. I did not realize that she was gonna really be, digging in on y'all like that, because I know she is, pro the black man. And, not saying that her last book was like really like she's not pro black women. She's black. She's about the black nation and black family, working things out. But I just did not expect her to really be on y'all neck like this. But I'm glad it's equal opportunity. We're all getting ready for filth. And just really taking an examination of ourselves and the people in our community, seeing what works, what doesn't work. We have knowledge from an elder, a now elder in our community that's been in our community for over 30 years at this point, writing books and trying to help everybody get back on one accord. So I really appreciate her work, even if we don't agree with every line by line that she's saying. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will check you in the next video. Oh, the next chapter is education. I already read it too. And the little excerpt says, as long as we keep getting an education that continually leaves us in the position of begging white people for a job, our so-called education is of no value at all. We must learn the skills that will provide us with freedom of employment and unlimited opportunities. We must learn to hire ourselves. And then this looks like it's a message from Elijah Muhammad. It says, Black brother, what does the white man teach you that will benefit you as an independent black people? What do they teach you of? Decency and respect and respectability, so that the decent moral people of the earth will respect you as an equal among them and receive you as a visitor to their country, to have the freedom to be accepted into their moral, respectable social equality. Black man, I warn you to be careful how you lay your head in the lap of modern day Delilah. Do not be a prey to Delilah and her army of white men who are against you. But that is the pre to the next chapter. Oh, what do y'all think? What y'all think? Part of me is, I've said before, I'm back into reading the Bible, so part of me is torn with the whole like racial thing, because I am a Christian, and the Bible teaches us to not like elevate one race over the other. So it's like kind of hard to be like, yeah, and white people and black people, like I understand the black struggle, I understand our history, but it's like I want to fix the black community first, because I believe that we won't be a great nation in this multicultural nation if we don't fix ourselves first. But I don't want to like just fix ourselves and like exclude ourselves from everything from other cultures, you know what I mean? But I do think there is some type of merit to cultures. Like, I think I'm just thinking about the Jewish community in New York right now. They have like whole blocks, like their whole town is just them. And I think there's merit in that, growing up around your people, your culture, having your own little town, your own city. It's not like they're cut off from the world. They're still around the rest of us, but it's like a borderline though, from being a cult and being like, but that's another video for another day. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It is 2 in the morning. I was gonna record the next chapter, but I think I'm gonna go to bed and I'll record the next chapter next week. I promise it will not be months, okay? I'm trying to get this book out, so everybody can review and we can have conversations about it, and we can heal, and we can get our community, so we can get our Black nuclear families back. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.